my name is Heather Miller, and I want to talk to you today about spina bifida. Spina bifida is something very dear to my heart. 9 years ago, my daughter was born with this. It is the most common birth defect that there is in the United States, but no one's ever heard of it. For her, she has a type called myelomeningocele, and that means that a portion of her spine and the nerves were on the outside of her body when she was born. This means that she's had multiple surgeries, will have more surgeries, multiple doctors, and her everyday life is just a little bit more different than yours and mine. Her very first surgery was when she was only 1 day old. They took her and they did a closure of her spine, and they placed a VP shunt into her head that drains into her belly because the excess fluid in her spine had to go somewhere, so it goes to the head. She has also had multiple other surgeries, and her last one was only about a week ago. She had a C-tube placed into her large intestine to help her when she goes to the bathroom. She will probably have multiple more surgeries in her future, but right now, we just play it day by day. She has many doctors. Most and more 9-year-olds should say they have. She has a neurosurgeon that takes care of her head and her spine. She has an orthopedic doctor that takes care of her feet and her legs and her hips. She has a urologist that takes care of her neurogenic bladder, a gastroenterologist that takes care of her neurogenic bowel. She also has an OT that takes care of her fine motor skills, a physical therapist that takes care of her whole body, and a psychologist that helps because the fluid in her brain can affect her memory and thinking skills. Her everyday life has some tweaks to it. When you or I wake up in the morning, we all have to go to the restroom. For her, she has no idea that she needs to do this. So she has to go to the restroom and she has to use something called a catheter to drain the urine out of her. It's just this tiny little tube, and she does it by herself. And it just drains all the urine out so that she doesn't get infections. At night, she has to do something, again, that you or I also have to do, but she does it a little different. In order for her to have a bowel movement, she has to use the C-tube that was placed. We hook a little catheter again up, and we squirt some fluid into her intestines, and she drains within an hour. And she has to do this every night so that she doesn't have accidents. Because who wants to go to school or be out in this world if you're going to have an accident? The doctors told us that she would never walk, but she proved them wrong. The doctors told us that she would never ride a bike, and she proved them wrong. Madison plays soccer, she plays basketball, and she does multiple things that they thought that she would never do. I would like you to meet Madison now. This is my daughter, Madison, and she looks like you or I, and she does the same things that you or I. She just does them a little bit different.